Here we go. So, Rich Harris, you're here. Okay, and I want to.
Finally.
Ooh, whoa! You just sounded really good just then.
Yeah, I just switched over to my ASMR mic.
I'm feeling it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm feeling it right now. So, anyways, so this thing happened on the internet, right? Where you decided to switch Svelte kit, correct, from TypeScript to JSDoc.
Svelte. So Svelte kit, we've been writing as JSDoc for a long time. We did that about 18 months ago.
Okay, so you changed
we've
Svelte.
been doing that, working great. We are in the middle of getting our Svelte 4 release ready. At the moment, we're on Svelte 3. It's been version 3 for the last 4 years. We are due for a major release. And as part of that, we want to do the same thing that we did with Svelte kit to Svelte itself, because it's worked out great for us. But we started working on this pull request, and somehow it was the top of Hacker News because people really care about internal refactoring PRs, it turns out.
Yeah. Okay, so I think obviously the contention is over the fact that you're moving away from TypeScript. So right now, industry standard wise, TypeScript's considered like the best thing ever. And so the fact that you moved away from it feels confusing to people. Can you like help us? Like what to you is the major benefit from moving away from it? And do you have anything that you miss from it?
I would flip it around. Like, why would you not write your code base in JavaScript?
Okay, I'm on that.
There's this whole extra. There's a lot of stuff that you opt into when you write your code base in some other language, whether it's TypeScript or whatever else. And as much as there's a like the grass is always greener phenomenon, there's also this thing that I've noticed with developers where we don't see the inconveniences that we're used to. But when you use these build processes, when you use non-standard dialects, you are adding a shitload of moving parts to everything that you work on. And those moving parts require regular maintenance, right? You got to put oil in the engine, otherwise it's gonna grind to a halt. And we're just like blind to it. But think about like when you're working in your own code base, you command click on a function and it takes you directly to the source, for example, and you can see how the function is implemented. You can make changes.
Can you explain to me what command and click is?
Command click, like in VS Code, maybe it's different because you're like some Linux person, but all right, you can. You can go directly to the source of the things that you have imported into your module, and you can see how they're implemented. You can change them. You cannot do that with stuff that you've imported from libraries. There's no reason why that should be the case. It's just because we've collectively decided that it's okay for our dependencies to be, you know, a bundled ball of dist code that's generated from some TypeScript source. And if you want to go and look at it, then you're shit out of luck, because at best you're going to be taken to like some generated DTS file or something like that, and God help you if you want to understand what your dependencies are actually doing, right? This is a very silly state of affairs that we shouldn't have to put up with. So
can I jump in here for a quick second? I do think that this is like it's a unique perspective, because in most of programming worlds, in most languages, you don't really hop into vendor code. Typically, you're not really reviewing what they're doing. It's like you download a package, you go and use it, and that's that. In the JavaScript world, it's very unique because you can just hand edit anything that you install, and it's a very different experience. And in some sense, it's a very positive experience. And exactly what you're saying is one of my big gripes with TypeScript is every time I jump to a definition, I jump to a DTS file. I'm doing this constant hopping around to actually try to look at what is going wrong or what don't I understand about the code base. When it comes to any of these dependencies. And so I do find this problem to be a big pain point. And so you're saying that if everyone were to use JSDoc, we would actually just go to the JS code, like normalified?
You can set things up in such a way that you can go directly to the source. And if you want to debug something in one of your dependencies, or like frankly, if I'm debugging one of my own libraries, then I can have my repro set up, and I can go to the function that's not working as I expect. I can put my console.logs or my debugger statements or whatever right in the source, and then I can understand like what's happening. If I have linked the library that I'm trying to debug to my project, then I can make edits inside my node modules, and then I can go over to the window where I'm working on that library, and all of the changes are already there, ready for me to just like put in a pull request. Like compare that to the workflow where you have to clone a repo that you're unfamiliar with, and then you have to figure out someone else's build process, and you got to figure out where the source files are that correspond to the thing that you're struggling with, and then you've got to like somehow map these two things together, and you've got to figure out like all of the different moving parts that are involved in getting that library to build so that you can use it inside your repro. Like this is not the default way that people consume libraries, admittedly, but when you do have to do things this way, there's just so many layers of complexity that we have just opted into unnecessarily. So from the consumer of a library perspective, there's some, I would say, moderately significant benefits to having dependencies that are just authored in vanilla JavaScript. But for the people building the libraries, I think the benefits are even greater because, now you can run your test files without using TS node. You can just like everything just works. You can copy and paste into a REPL, into your dev tools, like your functions will continue to work. You don't need to strip out the type annotations and all of that stuff. You don't need to have your build step running in a separate process where everything gets rebuilt on every keystroke in order for your tests to run, all of that sort of thing. Like I saw a tweet last week, someone had discovered that the TS node CLI doesn't work in node 20 at the moment. And like there's just this entire category of things. Like this is dumb shit that I do not want to have to think about when I'm writing code. And by not having TypeScript, I've just like opted out of all of that. So I provided a better experience for myself. I provided a better experience for the users of my code. And the only cost to doing this is that I have to write JSDoc syntax instead of TypeScript syntax, which is admittedly not as nice. Okay, but that's really
I do want to double click on that for a moment. So I totally get the motivation. Like I really do hate all the extra steps that are required. And, you must have source maps on. If you have a built thing in which you run and you throw an error without source maps, if you just run node, you're just simply going to get an error in which you have to go through and try to figure out in what line is the actual error in the JavaScript, not in the TypeScript, because you don't have the source maps in an error in a prod build tool. Like, I understand all those little...
And that stack trace might be in like a GitHub comment. Like someone said, like, I'm experiencing this error. Like, what is it? And maybe they have source maps working somehow by some miracle, but they probably don't. And you're left looking at that like, what? I can't help you.
Yeah.
Unless I can reproduce the exact conditions, I can't help you. Whereas if the stack trace points to the actual source code, I probably can.
Yeah, so I definitely get that. Like, that is just like a pure win. The less build steps you have, the easier it is. I totally get that. But my big worry is when I look at JSDocs, it does look less, I guess, easy to read in the sense that you look at your variables, and to know what they are, you have to go northward, or you have to do some sort of hover menu to see the type. And so what has that experience been like? Because that, to me, is like the big kind of breaker of it all.
It is the downside of using JSDoc. Although even that comes with some caveats. So the way that you annotate a function in JSDoc, for example, is before the function, you have this comment block which starts / asterisk asterisk, and then inside there you have a plain English description of what the function is doing, and then you have like @param, and then the type in curly braces, and then the name of the param, and then perhaps some documentation after it. So for an add function, you'll have / adds two numbers, @param number, the first number, @param number, the second number, and then maybe you will have a return annotation if you don't want to use type inference, all of that stuff. Whereas if you're writing in TypeScript, then you will have function add A:number, B:number, and it's much leaner. But there is even a trade-off there, because if you're already writing that JSDoc comment, you are, in my experience, and maybe this is just me, you're much more likely to remember to actually document what all this stuff is.
Okay.
Which with TypeScript you don't. Like you do A:number, and it's like, all right, but what is A in this context? Like it's not giving me any information about that. It's not telling me what this function actually does. I have to infer it from the function name and the argument names and so on. So I find that JSDoc kind of tricks me into documenting my code much more comprehensively, and that saves me time down the line when I'm trying to understand my own code.
Okay, so let's do a little bit of follow-up. People ask a lot about generics. What is kind of the generic experience? I know that JSDocs has some level of generics, and I do have a lot to say about this, but what is kind of the experience of doing more of the generic level programming?
Yep. This is the big concern that a lot of people have. You can use generics in JSDoc just fine. Declaring generics is a little bit trickier. There's this template thing that you can use in your JSDoc block where you can like at template, and then inside your curlies you have the constraint for the generic, and then T or whatever you want to call it, and then you can reference that inside your parameters and so on. And even inside the function body, like you can refer to any generics that you declared that way, but you don't have as good generic support as you do if you're writing in TypeScript. However, you can write your generics in DTS files, which are then imported from your JavaScript files. So all of the complex stuff that you can do in TS that you cannot do in JSDoc, you can just do that in a .dts file and import it.
So that was my next question, was right there, which was DTS files. Do you use them in conjunction with JSDoc? Do you find that to be a good middle ground where any specified type, you do it there, and then JSDoc is more like the lean, like just squirrely brace type?
Exactly. Yeah. That's how I typically use it. All of my complex types or anything that I'm using in multiple places in my project, I'll do that in a DTS instead of in a type def in JSDoc. Ideally, you want to have the actual interface to your library, like the DTS files that other people consume when they use your library. Ideally, you want to have that generated from source. But that source, if it's importing from the DTS, you can have this sort of auto-generated DTS, imports from source, which imports from handwritten DTS. And so you get like all of the best of all possible worlds. And it takes some mental adjustment if you're used to just doing everything in TypeScript files. Like you need to understand how these things interrelate, but it's really not that much of an overhead.
Yeah, so okay, so I like this DTS approach because there's types. You want to be able to specify types, and I feel like types just as code feel probably a little bit more natural than comments. And so I like this idea of being able to have a DTS file, and then for anything that's just like what you want to generate, the signatures, everything else is all from just within the code. It generates everything. That seems really nice. But I do have a follow-up question that I've just, or not really a follow-up question, a statement. I want to hear your thoughts on it. One of the things I don't like about TypeScript is that it's a Turing-complete type system. Like you can write bubble sort in it. It's a very complex type system that people don't realize. And I find that as you start to write a library, due to the ability to make it as expressive, I spend more time trying to understand and write types than I would say write the thing in Rust or write the thing in Zig or write the thing in any language I'm not even familiar with. Like you can get very complex with your types in TypeScript. Does JSDoc help you like lower that bar? Is there some sort of thing that it helps you do because you don't have nearly the same expressiveness? Or is it just like, well, I still find myself in all the same issues with JavaScript. I just now have JSDoc and no build step?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you still have the same ability to tie yourself in knots. You're just doing it in DTS files instead of TypeScript files. I think the only way to stop yourself from doing that is just like not doing that. Like recognize the point at which it's recognize the point at which it's getting out of hand and be like, actually, you know what? We don't need to do this. We definitely do have some moderately complex types in the SVELTE code base. We used to have some more complex types in the code base, but gradually we've found less of a need for them. I don't know. I'm filled with admiration for people who understand how to wrangle TypeScript in that way. I am not one of those people. There's some kind of mental block that happens when I try and get my head around the really deep stuff.
I don't think it's a bad thing, though. Honestly, I really do think that there's a level of TypeScript knowledge that poison pills your project often, right? Like that you become too much of a wizard and you rely so heavily on the most magical types that the moment you have to refactor it, it's not a small refactor. All of a sudden you have 2 runs of logic you're refactoring. This magical type syntax that's autocomplete, followed by the actual code itself, which I'm still trying to figure out what level of TypeScript is a good level. So that's why I'm so motivated about this JSDoc thing, because can it help prevent me from going out of control with TypeScript because it is just simply available?
Yeah, I mean, this might be the determining factor in whether someone wants to use JSDoc or TypeScript is like the complexity of the types that they find themselves authoring. I want to author stuff as simply as possible. I want to rely on inference to the maximum degree. I want everything to be not just readable, but understandable by someone who is not all that sophisticated, namely myself. And like all of that stuff you can do in JSDoc, and occasionally you need to go to a DTS for a shared interface or something, or because you have a generic class or whatever. But on the whole, I just want to steer clear of that shit. I don't have time for it.
Okay, one last question about inference since we're talking about it. I know this is kind of like a hot debate within the old TypeScript world, which is how much do you do inference? We have return type inference, all that kind of stuff. So one of my big kind of thoughts about it is that when you don't be more explicit about your typing, you end up having like middle types throughout your program because you got something that wasn't typed here, but now you got this value out that you need to pass to another function. So therefore you start developing this kind of middle types all throughout your system. And when you want to find where your items are being used, they stop at one level, and then you have to find where these middle types are being used throughout your program. Like how much does inference really help in this situation, and how much does it hurt? Because if you're relying super heavy on inference, are you creating a new problem of refactoring?
Potentially. I think this again comes down to complexity. If you're dealing with some very complex code, then you want to put some guardrails in place. If I have a function that is 10 lines long and I can see the whole body of the function very quickly and it's only got one return statement, and like, do I really need to type the return value? Like our hypothetical add function that adds two numbers, it's gonna return a number. Am I gonna like make a mistake somehow and accidentally return the wrong thing? Like, probably not. But if it's something where, I've got a 200-line function and there's a few different branches, that's the point at which I'm like, I want this to be readable at the top of the function definition, and I want to make sure that I'm not accidentally going to return the wrong thing, because I get bitten by that all the time. So I'm not ideological about inferred return values. I use inference when I think it's going to pay off, but I like being explicit when I think I'm probably setting up a trap for myself.
Okay, that's good. I like that. All right, well, hey, thanks for letting us know about this JSDoc thing. I think this is a good thing to happen because, obviously the pushback in the PR shows that people feel very passionate, but they may not even know what is available, because the number one complaint I see is there's no generics, and you're just like, well, actually there is generics. Well, I can't do as expressive a typing. Well, you can just use a DTS file. So it's like, okay, hold on, maybe the complaints maybe aren't as founded as possible, but the one downside, of course, is the comments at the top kind of suck, but maybe there's some benefit to it. Okay.
But that might change. There's a type annotations proposal going through TC39 at the moment, which would add something very light TypeScript syntax to JavaScript, the language. It would just get interpreted as comments, essentially. If that happens, then we can have the best of all possible worlds. We can ship our typed source code, and engines don't care about the types, but our type checker can, and then we just won't have that problem. Won't have to choose. Yeah,
I would like that. Obviously, the compiling is probably, or transpiling is probably the worst part of JavaScript right now. So I would really very much so like that. All right. Well, hey, thank you for taking a few moments to come on talk about this, because this obviously made some people, ruffled some pretty serious feathers out there.
I don't know, man. I don't know why people care, but there you go. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Well, thanks, Rich. Hey, where can people find you
at? Blue Sky.
You're on Blue Sky?
Yeah, you not?
Yeah, I am. But I mean, I have an account, but okay, I'm not even logged in. I don't even know why I'm going here. I don't even know how to use it. Okay, so you're on this theoretical Blue Sky site. Is it linked in your Twitter?
No, it's not. I should probably add it. It's
Rich!
I'm rich-harris.dev. I don't know if Elon will let us add Blue Sky links to our bios.
Well,
I'm on Twitter, Rich_Harris.
Yeah, it looks something like this on Blue Sky. So go find that. I send me your link, and when I put this into a YouTube video, I'll properly link the Blue Sky. Sounds good?
Let's do that.
All right. Hey. Later. Bye. I don't need to do a hot take from Rich, because I got to get him out of there. There we go. We got him out of there. We got him out. Get him out. Get
Feel the calm before the storm as the
We
round
don't
begins.
want none of this.